But before we dig into that, and I don't know which one to start with, you can just put your hand up. It's our social shares. Please hit subscribe button to this channel. It's somewhere down there, and hit follow on Apple Podcast if you're listening to that. And please rate or review, particularly if you like what we're talking about and how we're talking about it. But first of all, let's go to Emily. Emily, the US...
It's going to be Kieran, actually.
Oh, was it?
Was
it Kieran that put up the... Oh, you decided...
I decided,
actually.
I pointed at Kieran, but I didn't...
This is really important, Kieran, you're on. Kieran, what we're talking about, OpenAI is arguing that it should continue to be allowed to steal everybody's copyright. So this is basically when you're creating these AI products, basically, they're massive search engines, aren't they? You type in stuff, and it figures out the syntax of what you're saying, and it kind of feeds back stuff. And no, I can easily type for this podcast, tell me 3 things about Trump that he's doing today, and it says, really, you don't want 50? And no, I want 3, and it gives you the latest 3. And so it's really good at, I think, shaping information. But how does it get all of that information?
Well, it just grabs it and trains its models on it. So it just grabs us vast quantities of information.
And when we're saying grabs it,
just the text, more and more text and images, and it just feeds it into from anywhere it can get it. That's the issue.
So
you know how if say you wanted to go on the New York Times, you go there and you need to subscribe, or you go to the Telegraph.
Now is AI subscribing?
No, AI is what we call stealing.
Emily, you're a former IP and copyright lawyer.
I'm a reformed.
Can I have your it's been a while, I know, but what's your advice on that? If I want stuff, can I just go somewhere, read it, and take it?
That's not the ideal that the law is aiming for, I would say. I think
you normally say that to me when I'm offering you some sort of toast.
I think the social contract with creative people is supposed to be that society pays you back for your creativity through mechanisms like copyright. So you create a lovely picture or a movie, or write something, Kieran.
But when I listen,
and people say, "Oh, thank you for doing that," as opposed to "We'll have that."
Yeah, we'll have
and I'll
that,
make some money,
and I can save some. Yeah, I can save some money because I didn't have to create it.
Yeah.
So let's take this seriously. Actually, what they're doing with these engines. When I go into ChatGPT, am I paying somebody?
No, well, so what they're arguing for fair use. There is such a thing as fair use doctrine. So you can use stuff because you can't control the information in the news or control the information in a book or something. But they're saying, well, this is fair use for us, and we're creating these models which are massively useful. And then the results, if you type something into ChatGPT, that's original. All the stuff that comes out is original. Except, I mean, this is the difficulty with AI. It's often not. It's often really very, very similar, or is taking the knowledge and pushing that knowledge out again and making money from it.
So if you think about the old days of attribution as a researcher, it's you're writing your piece of research and it's original, but you give a lot of attribution to other sources and sources of those information, and you're actually boosting their
and that's always been the agreement. It's like it's plagiarism if you don't. But what OpenAI is saying, what AI companies are saying, well, we don't use the same words, we use totally different words, and so therefore it's not plagiarism.
Yeah, and there's no copyright in an idea. That's for sure.
What does that mean? There's no copyright.
Well, so you have a brilliant.
Something,
if you dream up something, then your proper protections are either confidentiality or a patent, which
you have to go through a whole process,
which is a great big
now when
inventive step.
I'm not gonna ask the guys behind the camera to start putting up pictures of me when I was in a band from 25 years ago, but
they don't need much encouragement to do that.
we were told when we write some dreadful piece of crap and call it a song, to post it to yourself so that the idea in your head... stop it. Really, this is annoying. So that the idea in your head was made a physical piece of paper, and then you can copyright the piece of paper and the words on the paper. So you actually have to make the thing in your head a real thing.
Well, yeah, you have to... So copyright protects the expression of the idea.
I see.
And as Kieran says, if it's copied, it's copied. If it's adapted, well, is it enough of an adaptation to get you over the line, and it's a qualitative test. It's a really difficult, costs a lot of money to actually test in court.
Well, the reason they're upset about OpenAI's upset is the EU has been pushing, saying, no, copyrighted work is copyrighted work. So OpenAI is complaining, saying, well, this is going to make our product less good.
Yes.
So that can't be right.
Yeah.
And then, which is a little odd because they're hoping to make money and they have a massive, share price. But then if that doesn't work, then they're saying, China! They're yelling China, which always sets off.
Gets the amygdala
oh my God, he said China.
Leave the studio. There's some sort of panic. It triggers some sort of panic attack.
If you don't let OpenAI grab everybody's copyright in the whole world and let them use it to make money, then China will do it.
For me, that's another trigger word is EU. When the EU are looking at things, it's always so unrealistic. I was talking to somebody from a different industry yesterday, and he said, I'm in an EU meeting, and they're talking about how to deal with the problem, and they're introducing a code of conduct, which all the bad guys are just going to game, and it's just not going to work. And this is another thing.
I think we can collectively agree that EU's approach to a lot of things is not great.
And not usually innovation friendly, which they would hate me to say. Not that anybody would care what I say, but the whole sort of the anxiety within the EU is like, are we shit at innovation?
Yeah,
the answer is a bit.
And if you set your stall at always sort of shutting things down, because there's reality, isn't there? In strategy, when you study that, things have to be achievable and realistic. You can't just come out with these ideals. Is America and the AI giants and China, the new AI giant on the block, going to really care or listen to this?
No,
if it's publicly available on the internet, for example, it's publicly there.
Well, the New York Times is suing them because they basically said you scraped all of our articles and you're using this knowledge, original reporting, and then you're just pumping it out without any attribution. So it's a problem. What I would have liked to have seen, and the UK backed away from this as well, is to say, well, there is such things as copyright, and we are using this data, and so therefore we should come up with a model which provides attribution whenever we use this piece of information.
Attribution and reward. I mean,
and reward.
I think that what needs to evolve and has done over the last 20 years, the internet came along, killed the music industry, and then just before it got to kill films, there was a model of streaming that was evolved, so you could legally get content online and you pay.
There is a way of doing it.
There is a way of doing it,
yeah.
But it's sort of like, I'll have all the stuff for free. Doesn't feel very fair.
It's amazing that we've ended up in this place.
Well, let's keep watching this. I think this battle of the giants is going to continue, but then we've got this stuff happening from China with AI. It seems a bit crap at the moment, but you've got these awesome resources.
Well, I've got to tell you something funny. Is that I was doing, this is a bit nerdy, but I was doing like crime stats for where I live, in London, and I uploaded a couple of documents, and I asked ChatGPT to sort of summarize it for me, and it came up with this incredible chart, and the chart said, "Oh, look, I found this correlation between this data and this data." And I thought, this is amazing. ChatGPT is incredible. ChatGPT. And then I dug in and I thought, where'd you get these figures from? So then I look at it and I go, I don't see these figures in any of these documents. So I asked ChatGPT, where did you get these figures from? And ChatGPT said, you're right to ask that. We made it up. So what?
And it's great if you're then producing something.
So it had made up some stats, then found a correlation, it's made up stats, and then provided me with an image of this incredible correlation. I thought, this is incredible. Stunning. I know how to fix crime in Putney.
Wow.
And it would have made the whole thing up. And it wasn't true at all.
Oh my God.
I thought, wow.
We must move on. We've got
Did you see the DSIP minister had a Freedom of Information Act request of his prompts for ChatGPT, and he actually released it,
really?
Which I think was really good. And
what should I have for supper tonight?
Well, asking ChatGPT about some difficult quantum stuff, and ChatGPT was kind of okay.
He was proud. He didn't put his search history in there.
No. That's a whole new subject. But actually, while we're on government.